Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gabon 24 in this special interview in line with the African Climate Week. We're talking about this important climate conference that tries to address issues of adaptation and mitigation in the face of global warming. To tackle these issues, I do receive the Minister of Environment of Uganda, Madam Atim Beatrice Anewar. Welcome, Madam.
It's a pleasure to be here.
How do you feel since you've been in Libreville?
I'm at home. Africa is home.
Okay, thank you. Your country, Uganda, hosted last year the African Climate Week in a particular context of COVID-19. And what was the outcome of that important conference?
It was an honor for Uganda to host the African Week. Unfortunately, it was when we were all globally battling the COVID pandemic, and we couldn't have what we are seeing here. It was actually virtually conducted, that member states were able to conduct. But as a country, we had prepared adequately well. We had sensitized people. We had brought on board different actors and stakeholders, and we had prepared for showcase what we have done in the light of the effect of climate change as a country. And unfortunately, we didn't have what we are seeing here, but we were able to prepare ourselves. And then, as a result of that, is what we are building on. Because literally, we had prepared to showcase in the very difficult time. But now that the pandemic has relaxed a bit, we are able to build on what we had already set. And it was a good footing, because for us, it was a wakening up call. But also the interventions and input of other colleagues, other member countries, which we got virtually, we were able to have a comprehensive view of what is happening across the continent.
And this COVID-19 pandemic did not allow you to really show the world what you prepared. But today you are in Gabon to represent your country and also to build solutions, strong solutions for Africa. What is exactly your message? You can also come back on what you prepared last year in your country.
Well, the truth of the matter is that the COVID pandemic even awakened the world more. Now, coupled with the effect of climate change, which for us as a country, Uganda, we have experienced drought, we have experienced landslide, the flooding, our people have died, we are already experiencing food insecurity. And these are issues which we have taken very seriously, and as a country, we have already put in place. We have, first of all, which is unique to other countries, is that as a country we have a climate change committee of parliament established. And we have the members of parliament who belong on that committee here with us in this, this conference. Two, we have already put in place a Climate Change Act, which has been passed. And this one spells out the responsibility of all the stakeholders, the government, the local government, the civil society, the private sector, the youth, and everybody has a stake and has a responsibility. And how we coordinate ourselves is what is already spelled in the Act. Two, the Act also has been able to mainstream out the effects of climate change in all other ministries. We have even put in place a demand for compliance, certificate of compliance for all these ministries before their budgets are passed. We want each ministry, either water, either works, whether refugee, maybe security, health, they must have the component of climate change, environment component, and put money to it as a sector, because the effect of climate change cuts across and it affects all these sectors. And for us to embrace it and have it well coordinated. Each ministry must show us an activity they are going to do about countering the effect of climate change in their ministry, and they have a budget. So the budget you bring to Parliament, when it is not compliant with climate change, we don't pass it.
It is, without cutting you, it is very nice to hear about that beautiful organization, that beautiful policy that is being organized in your country. But can you tell us more about this specific, let's say, expression that we call Mama Mabira? What does it stand for?
That is a long story. I think I'm a Minister of State for Environment now. But what Ugandans know me more on is that I'm an activist for environment. On the 12th April 2007, we put up a spirited fight to stop government cutting down the only forest, which is Mabira Forest. And
by the time you were not minister?
I was not. I was just a member of parliament, and I was in the opposition. So I was not a minister. So we told government, you cannot cut down this valuable forest to plant sugarcane. So we went and mobilized people, and people came up in big number. People died. I was arrested, but we put up a spirited camp. We told the government, the president, you are not going to cut that tree. One tree down, one person down. So we will manage to save the forest, and that is what we have as a forest. And all Ugandans think that I'm the mother of that forest. And maybe globally, I'm the only mother of the forest and human beings, because I'm also a mother of 5 children.
Very beautiful.
So
very
that
important.
one is a background, and it helps us. It helps me as I am. I don't really act because I'm a minister, because I'm very passionate about and believe in what I'm doing. For me, it is easy. Either you have the environment conserved or you don't. Whether I'm a minister or I'm not, it is about environment conservation. I'm passionate about that, full stop. My message out there then will be, Africa, it's time to wake up. I've been in these meetings. I led the delegation of Ugandans to COP27 in Glasgow. The message we are running around with is we are vulnerable. We want funds. The funds are not forthcoming. I'm telling Ugandans, and the message today should go out. Africa, we are not vulnerable. We can't. And Africa, we are not poor. We are sitting on a gold mine. Africa is rich. We wake up, we want us to 3 things. I'm requesting of listeners and viewers out there, and you Africans in totality, that can we take up time to value what we have? I have seen beautiful forest here. Do you know what is the value of that forest? To cleaning the environment, we need to put value to that. Plus ours, plus the neighboring, all the countries in Africa have something. What about the water bodies? What about the ecotourism? Ecosystem, the wetlands we have. These are all natural resources we have. Let's put value to it. And once we put that value, we put it together as Africa, we carry that bag of the valuable cost of the environment of Africa. We go to the negotiating table. We tell our partners, as Africans, this is the value we have. How much are you putting to this so that we clean the environment?
Okay.
2, allow me to finish on this.
Yes,
it's quite critical for me.
Go on.
And then 2, we put the monies which are supposed, they are supposed to pay us. They are supposed to pay us. We are not asking, we are not begging. We are asking because we have all this richness, which is helping cleaning the...
For sure.
Can you pay us? And then we create an African fund from which every African country...
They're even talking about carbon credits.
That one is coming. That is the 3rd point I wanted to advance. You're cutting me short. So I want us to create an African fund out of our natural resource traded, so that we can help each other to restore and protect. But 3, which is critical, is that the carbon credit is coming. Can we use this to trade off? There is something which I want to warn fellow Africans. There are people who are moving around with money. They come to Gabon, they tell you we have this $1 million. Can you look for a big chunk of land and plant for us trees? Now, we are very excited about the millions that are telling us of dollars. We are not aware how much, if we put our 1,000 to 2,000 acres of land under plantation, how much carbon credit can we get it? Must somebody get the carbon credit on behalf of Gabon, on behalf of Uganda, on behalf of Congo? No, we Africans together, we must have our basket and go for carbon credit, and we negotiate for it. Lastly on that one, it is time. This COP27 is an African COP. Let's make sure that all our presidents in each country of Africa, we go to Egypt and we go and on the process and put on table that Africa is not vulnerable. Africa is not poor. We are not coming to beg. We have something to offer.
Okay. Is Mama Mabira that voice that is telling authorities, decision makers, that you are not against the economic development, but you want the kind of development that takes into account the challenges of environment, the respect of the environment?
We must balance the equation. Development will not be sustainable, will not come its way without conservation of the environment. Full stop. If we want development, we must conserve the environment. The environment offers the production, factors of production. Without that, we cannot develop. And this one, we must balance the equation vis-a-vis getting alternative sources of life for our people. We know some are going there because they want to earn a living, but there are already alternative. In Uganda, we're not talking from nowhere. We are telling people to get out of the forest, to get out of the wetlands, but we are going to give them, as a government, alternative sources of life. We are saying all those who have been cultivating the wetland, leave the wetland to regenerate. But we, as government, we are going to give you fish ponds along the wetlands, and you start earning and selling fish. It's more productive, more viable than just planting a few grass and rice in the wetland and destroying the ecosystem.
Do you think that African people have really understood the concept of sustainable development? Because we are the people who are in perfect harmony with the nature.
That's true. Yes, learning is a continuous process. That's why, as a leader, we don't get tired of sensitizing. And that's why I'm calling on the mindset. Because there's also a mindset which we have to work on. People think the environment is a free land available. You see, that's a mindset. But we are telling them we need to do cost-benefit analysis. We tell them this is what will happen if you occupy this that wetland, for example, or you cut down the tree. And this is what will happen if you don't. You still can earn. And that's where the alternative source of livelihood comes in. In Uganda, we partner with all the communities near the forest. They can help us restore what they have cut. We give them the incentives. We even allow them to go and keep bee farming in the forest. And those ones are the wetland, they do fishing. So that they become the gods for us. And they enjoy. Once they see that fish is producing more than what they are producing rice, since they see that their honey is earning them more money, and it needs to be in the forest and on the trees, they will not allow the cutting of the tree. 3, we are giving them advice on what type of trees to plant, because we have both central forest reserves and then private land and forests on the private land. So we want to advise them, those who are planting trees on the private land, what types of trees. We are moving away from the pines and whatever the trees which you cut down. We are telling them, can we go in planting macadamia, avocados, coffee? So if your farmer is planting an acre or 10 acres of macadamia, avocado, we have set ourselves to look for them the market. Now, he picks every year and goes and sells. Will he cut down the tree?
And you are really doing all that is possible to bring a lot of information to populations in order to put them on the way to what we can call eco-citizens.
Sure. For us, the involvement of the private sector, because we give part of our, we have already, by the way, a 10 years restoration plan, which we have passed as government. We are involving the private sector. We give out part of the forest which was degraded to some willing private sector people to come and replant it. You know? And they share in the carbon credit in future. They are stakeholders. We involve the youth. We have the youth groups which are involved in green economy. We are going into smart agriculture, you know? And the local government is the one in charge to approve or disapprove the use of these natural resources. So it is all the stakeholders are involved and they are really at stake. We want them to see the benefits before they can reinforce it.
Is it also, is this African Climate Week the opportunity for you, based on what you're doing in Uganda, to share it, to share this example, to share all that you put it on the table to make it beneficial for other countries in Africa?
It is a wake-up call. I'm happy that I've attended this, where I've made my presentation. This is a passionate call. And let me use this opportunity also on this television for our people who are seeing us, who are listening to us, and the Africans over there, that it is time we wake up and see the gold we are sitting on. We give value to it. We use it as a negotiating tool. We use it as an asset for us to be paid for the carbon credit. We use it to help ourselves, to give an alternative to our population so that our people are not thrown in this right. There's also some ideas that are telling us, how much land can you put under conservation? We want nature-based solution. What works best in Uganda might not work best in Italy, for example, or somewhere else. So each country is unique. We need to be allowed to use our nature-based solutions for our own people. We know it better than other people coming to tell us what we should do. Supposing we have already, like here, we have already a forest cover. We have a water body. Now the remaining part is for agriculture. You are telling us, can you sign up so that all the remaining land goes for tree planting? Where will our people go and get agricultural land? No? We are telling you partners we are talking with, that at least we have offered that. That's why I say we value what we have. We shall tell them we have already so much coverage of acreage under forest, under wetland, under ecosystem. So what are you bringing on board? Bring us the money which you promised, give us technology, and we use it for our home-based solutions.
Okay, there is another issue that I want us to tackle. How does the government of Uganda manage to assure economic recovery in harmony with environmental challenges after the health crisis that hardly hit the world?
I think my country, Uganda, and I think let me give credit to my president, His Excellency General Museveni Yoweri, who spearheaded. For him, he's a military man, and all his programs are in the setting of a military setup. We handled the pandemic, COVID pandemic in Africa, in the world. I think we were the best.
Yes, for sure.
Why? Because he took the lead, took into guiding the population what the do's and the don'ts. He restricted, we closed down the whole system, including schools, for 2 years.
For 2 years, yes.
To manage the pandemic. And that one, it had both it's bad that our children stayed home for 2 years, but we saved the lives rather than anywhere else. With that, we showed the world. And I want the African brothers and sisters to know that with that one, we showed to the world. Because people have been saying, Africa is backward, we don't have good health system. Whenever you are sick, you have to be flown to Europe. But at that time, if we had not locked Uganda, can you imagine how many planes would be coming from Europe to come to Uganda to know how much we have managed the COVID pandemic? This was an indication that Africans, we are able, we have a solution to our own problems. So this can be replicated in the environmental issue. The president has taken the lead. He's actually now the one steering the environmental conservation. He's giving directive, he's commanding, and I'm sure with that, he has told people, if we don't conserve the environment, Uganda is doomed. We have seen the landslide, we have seen the floods, we have seen the poverty and food insecurity. We need to get out of the wetlands. We need to get out of the forest. We need to restore quickly. Meanwhile, you have to be given another alternative so that this natural resource is protected and regenerate. Hence, we are actually going towards industrialization, urbanization. We want people to live, to go for intensive farming, and this one will generate more money and then jobs for our people. So I am telling you, the pandemic has helped us to be resilient. And the word here is resilient. Africa, wake up. We are able to manage our issues.
Very good. But do you think that strong measures will be taken at the very end of this African Climate Week while preparing COP27 in Egypt next November?
We must have a strong position. And the strong position must be African position. Last month, we were privileged as a country. We hosted the interministerial regional meeting. And as a pre-COP meeting, we have already identified where migration mobility, you know, in Africa and in Europe, in the globe almost, Uganda is number 2, number 3 for hosting refugees. We have open door for our brothers or sisters who have trouble. And then we wanted this to be mainstreamed into the pre-COP position. So, and we were able to have 22 countries sign a Kampala Declaration, which stipulated what we thought should be propelled to the agenda of COP27. So if we add that one to what we are going to declare here and the other African body, the other week we are going to Senegal, AMSEN. So those positions must all be brought on board, harmonized, and we have one common position for Africa. And that's why I said our heads of state must take lead to take us to COP27, to put our agenda on table. If they are not there, we are going to be taken chance of, which we don't allow. Our presidents must be there to prepare the African agenda.
Thank you very much. May I call you Mama Mabira?
Yes, thank you.
You are the Environment Minister of Uganda.
Yeah.
Thank you again for having answered to our questions.
Merci beaucoup.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the very end of this special interview focused on the African Climate Week. You can keep on following us on Gabon 24 on our socials. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.